Local governments can avail of 40% of this new revenue as additional internal revenue allotment. Our efforts at maintaining a strong and growing economy always have one fundamental operating principle. We put the highest priority on eradicating poverty and ensuring that safety nets are in place for the most vulnerable. New legislation, thanks to Congress, grants income tax exemption to annual earnings of as high as 150,000 pesos, a bonanza for wage earners and salaried workers. New legislation has also allowed Pag-ibig, GSIS, and SSS members to avail of longer loan terms and condoned penalties on delinquent loans. For our farmers, we have raised the buying price of palay from 11 to 17 pesos per kilo and increased the volume purchase from 30,000 to 1 million metric tons. We have new industries like BPO, a sunrise sector that will continue to boom as global cost-cutting is transformed into outsourcing and offshoring. Our increased budget for science and technology research and development is beginning to generate exportable products with high income potential when things get better for the world. So far, overseas employment remains stable and strong. We are doing what we can to address the needs of those who have been displaced, but by no means has this become a crisis. In 2001, I inherited a state of all-out war in Mindanao. Since then, we made steady progress towards permanent peace until the setback of August 2008. I hope 2009 will be a comeback year for peace, progress, and prosperity in Mindanao. The new government panel on the peace process is headed by Ambassador Rafael Seguis, who is familiar to most of you. The panel has been directed to touch base with our facilitators and the MILF leaders to schedule the resumption of peace talks. The panel is poised and ready to embark on substantive discussions, including ceasefire-related issues, the international monitoring team, and accelerated development for Mindanao. We hope all parties are as committed as we are to resume negotiations soon. Our new paradigm for peace includes interfaith dialogue, authentic consultation with communities, and the principle of disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration for armed rebel groups. To advance peace and progress in Mindanao as in the past, we hope to be able to count on the support of our partners in the international monitoring team, Brunei, Japan, and Libya, Malaysia, who has been an ardent facilitator, our other friends in the OIC, in Europe, and the US. The obligation and commitment of our government goes well beyond economic, security, and global challenges. A civilized democratic nation must also be vigilant in strengthening democracy and advancing human and civil rights. Human dignity starts with alleviating poverty, and it relies upon the sacred obligation of government to preserve, protect, and defend the freedom of every Filipino to participate fully in society and politics without fear. We are one of the vibrant democracies in our part of the world. Our commitment to human rights remains paramount, even in the midst of active insurgencies and other threats to national security. Based on Task Force USIG data, there has been a marked decline in politically motivated killings as a result of intensified government efforts in partnership with the community. In 2008, the number of cases dropped 90% compared to 2006. Last year, the UN Human Rights Council conducted its periodic review of the situation here. The President of the Council lauded the Philippines as outstanding in our transparent, consultative, and comprehensive report. The Council appreciated that our government frankly acknowledged the challenges as well as outlined the steps it is taking to address such areas as activist killings and the protection of women and children. The positive review has not lulled us into complacency. There will be no let-up in our campaign against human rights violations, including violence against women and children, human trafficking, abuses on Filipino workers abroad, and the killing of political activists and members of the media. Finally, I would be remiss not to mention the installation of a new American president on the eve of his inauguration in Washington. America plays a special role in the life and history of the Philippines. Our ties run deep. Over 2.5 million Americans are of Filipino descent. We fought side by side with America in World War II and in virtually every other conflict since. In my conversations with Senator Barack Obama before the elections and President-elect Obama after his election, it was made clear that the special relationship between the U.S. and the Philippines will continue unabated. We look forward to working with the new president, and we welcome him to the world stage. Closer to home, the economy will be the central focus of our government, and advancing the peace process in Mindanao, my personal commitment in 2009. I am cautiously optimistic about the new year, the way I heard many bankers say it in yesterday's central bank reception. I prefer to look to a brighter future for the Philippines, and indeed for the entire world. So please join Attorney Arroyo and myself in a toast for more success in 2009. Let us hope that this year finds all of us living in peace, prosperity, and harmony. Mabuhay!